All right, we are live. How's it going, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Buck Theater for the 22nd of January 2019. It's been a big day in movies. It's been a big day if you happen to be a fan of Black Panther, because the 2019 Oscars, or I believe the 91st Oscars, had their nominations go out today. And well, we're going to talk a little bit about that here in a few minutes. I just wanted to give people an opportunity to come on in, to get here and enjoy the party before it all begins. What's going on, Blizz 2012? What's going on, Rachel? How you guys doing today? Not much going on my end. I'm running behind on some TV shows I need to review. I haven't seen The Orville from last week, True Detective, or The Passage. It's just it's been a busy week. Unfortunately, I can't get to all the TV I want to get to, but it's something on my list for later on tonight as I continue my my onwards trajectory through The Punisher season 2, which I have to say I believe is far better than the first Punisher and the first season. I do. I really like it, and I'm not excited for it to be over. But there was some interesting conversations popping up today from the executive producer of The Punisher that basically said that he wants Daredevil and the Kingpin in season 3 if he gets it. Now, I'm not making this its own standalone video, but we will talk about it real quick. If The Punisher does get a season 3 and not the other Marvel shows, there's a specific reason for that. That specific reason has everything to do with the fact that it's not on the same contract that the original Defenders series was, and as well as the characters for the Defenders. So it's on an entirely separate agreement that is not beholden to that. I don't know what else is in that agreement. I just know that's kind of where things are at with it. So right now we're looking at it from the perspective of things could happen. And it was weird. There was a cryptic tweet put out by Eric Olson, who was the showrunner for Daredevil season 3, just last week, who had said, someone asked him like, oh, could you do like an anthology style show with these characters? And he was all like, oh, you're reading my mind, hashtag working on it, which misled a lot of people to think, oh, damn, he's working on something. He's doing something. It's going to be big. It's going to be wild. It's going to be crazy. And then he's like, no, I don't mean to get anyone's hopes up. It wasn't that at all. Damn it. Right? Damn it. I was pissed. I was pissed because I really want Daredevil to come back. Luke Cage and Iron Fist as well, but, you know, further down on the ladder of things I give a crap about. You know what I mean? But Daredevil's up there. Daredevil is very much up there. And Charlie Cox recently talked about what season 4 would have been like. This case, it would have been Bullseye coming into full Bullseye mode. It would have been Poindexter becoming Bullseye. And to have Daredevil face off against his arch nemesis while the two are in like their pristine fighting form, it would be fantastic. It would be utterly fantastic. A show that Netflix is stupid for getting rid of. They're stupid for getting rid of it. But you know, they're, I don't know, $15 billion this year is what they're spending on original content. And they couldn't fork out 50 mil for Daredevil, right? They couldn't fork out. I guarantee you it doesn't cost 50 mil for the season, but they could have forked out the damn money. They could have done it. Everyone wants it. I don't get this. It's one of those weird cases. It's like Netflix, by acting like that, to me comes across like Fox executives from the early 2000s. Like, remember where there was like Fox, if you had one bad episode, it meant the entire freaking show was canceled. There was a show called The Drive. It starred Nathan Fillion, Emma Stone, and a bunch of other people about this weird kind of cross-country road race sort of thing where this like crime syndicate kind of, you know, not tricked you, but blackmailed you into going and partaking in this thing. Well, Fox put out the first 2 episodes, I think it was, or no, like they did the first episode on a Sunday night to premiere it, like on, I think after football. This was in January, I forget what year. Came out, decent ratings. The next night, they did a second episode. It came out, had terrible ratings. And then they did one more episode. It had terrible ratings, and Fox pulled the plug on it by 3 episodes in. That is how bad Fox is. And I feel like Netflix, which was once looked at as being the arbiter of the savior of these types of shows like Fuller House and things like that, that they would be able to come in and actually, you know, save the day a little bit. They would save the day. No, they didn't save the day. They opted out of it for the sake of, what, 13 Reasons Why Season 3 or some such crap? It's ridiculous. It's terrible. Just terrible. But that's the world we live in, guys. That's the world we live in right now. We don't always get what we want. Good shows die. Bad shows live on. Walking Dead, anyone? Right? Walking Dead, anyone? So, why don't we go ahead and jump into the first story here? And it's one that I know people are going to want to know about. They're going to want to know my thoughts on it. Because I had to talk about it. It had to be a thing. It had to be a reality. Because if it is in relation to Ghostbusters 2016, there is a high likelihood that I am going to cover it. That I am going to talk about it. And that brings me to the first story here. Ghostbusters 2016 director Paul Feig responds to new Ghostbusters sequel. Because, well, of course he does. I mean, I think it would be, out of the question, ultimately, for him to, sit there and not actually respond, not actually engage. I think that's kind of dumb. I think he would do it, but it is what it is. Now, it says here that Paul Feig, who directed the 2016 version of Ghostbusters, has responded to the recent news about the film and the next film in the franchise, which plans to revert the original universe depicted in the first two Ghostbusters films. News of a direct follow-up to Ghostbusters 1984 and Ghostbusters 2 1989 was confirmed by Sony last week, with Jason Reitman confirmed as the writer and director of the project. Original stars Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson hinted that they may be involved in the film. Oh, no. Ernie Hudson said everyone's coming back. Now, I don't know if that means Bill Murray or Rick Moranis, but he said everyone. So, realistically speaking, it's going to be Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, Sigourney Weaver, Annie Potts. And that's kind of going to probably be about it. But we can hope we can hope Bill pulls the stick out of his ass and gives the fans what they so desperately want, a good third Ghostbusters film. Also, I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of hoping that William Atherton does come back, although this time he's leading the EPA. I think that would be pretty funny. Although it's been 30 years and he was already in his 40s or whatever when that movie came out. So he's probably old as hell now. So he'd be retired EPA agent or something along those lines. I don't know. I'd find a way to work him in. That's just me. Now, it says here, however, the announcement of the movie, currently known as Ghostbusters 3, irked Leslie Jones, one of the stars from the 2016 all-female reboot. Jones slammed the upcoming film as so insulting on Twitter, saying that the return to the original universe was a dick move and something that Donald Trump would do. Donald Trump did criticize Ghostbusters 24 back in 2015 when they announced it. He's like, why is there going to be an all-female reboot of Ghostbusters or something? Like, it was a very short tweet. It had good spelling, so it was in the good times of Donald Trump's legacy. Sorry, I had to do it. But ultimately, yeah, he criticized it. But this isn't like something Donald Trump will do. This isn't like anything with it. Anyway, Paul Feig here responded, and he wanted to chime in a little bit because there was a tweet from Andrew Todd saying, Leslie Jones tells the truth. Boy, I would have thought the Ghostbros got all their hate out of their system 3 years ago, but nope. Again, Ghostbros is such a dismissive term for paying customers. Am I right or am I right? I'm right. Now, Paul here comes back with a grand, oh, I told you so answer. Saying an absolute honest-to-God, never-ending supply of bullshit and hate from these people, or from these trolls. Leslie spoke her truth, and I support her. I'm very open to Jason's new version of Ghostbusters, but I'm also sad that our 2016 team may not get to bust again. We all are. We are forever proud of our movie. Well, you know what? Hey, listen. Even the kid who scores last on the placement exam has someone out there that cares for them. It's usually their mother. In this particular case, the mother of this version of Ghostbusters is Paul Feig and Kate DePaul. And this is one of those situations where it's like, again, you look at the concept of what the movie was, and I've broken it down time and time again. It was a failure. According to Paul Feig, it needed to make $400 million in order to break even, in order to warrant making a sequel. It did $229 million worldwide, which would mean that on home video sales, it would need to garner like almost 171,000 million. Nah, not million, or not thousand, but million. $171 million on home video. Even like The Last Jedi has not crossed that number yet. In no way would that happen. But the reason why it needed to get that much on home video is to kind of secure its home video release in order to say, hey, a sequel would probably be pretty good. Now, if you recall correctly, Paul Feig came out right when the movie was coming out on home video in the fall of 2016 and was like, calling all Holtzman fans, if you like Kate McKinnon in this movie, go and buy it. Arguably trying to drum up the same kind of support something like Dread 2012 had. Because when Dread 2012 came out in September of that year and it bombed because Lionsgate sucks at marketing, right? It's a perfect movie. It's a perfect movie, and it flopped at the box office. It's terrible. It's terrible. And that happened. Fans came together and created Dread Day, which is one time a year. I forget the day. It's kind of pretty much whenever you want it, really, to go out and buy a copy of the movie, to gift it to someone who hasn't seen it in order to keep the sales alive. When the movie came out for digital release on Apple, these guys bought it in droves to drive it to the top of the charts in order to tell Lionsgate, hey, fuckers, people want to see this movie. And that's what happened with Dread. Paul Feig was hoping that it would happen also with Ghostbusters. Well, no, it did not. It did not happen with Ghostbusters. So no wonder he's coming out and trying to say like, oh, Leslie spoke her truth. Yes, Leslie is upset that the movie is not going to continue with her in her role as Patty. I don't know. I get it. I'm not too petty to sit there and go, oh, your movie sucked. Ha ha ha, screw you. But at the same time, your fellow castmates and the person defending you here on the screen, they attacked the paying customers, constantly attacked them for months. And well after the release of the film onto home video and even into 2019, they attacked the fans. So yes, we're happy that Ghostbusters 3 is going to be a passing the torch kind of experience, not only in regards to the director being passing the original torch to his son, and also the movie is going to be featuring a younger cast of characters, diverse, both men and women, that are going to be taking up the mantle of Ghostbusters, being ushered in by Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, whoever else is left, based upon the initial rumors we've heard about the property. That's where it's at. So Paul Feig can sit there and whine and cry and bitch and moan, oh, you're never going to be able to bust again. Well, perhaps, Paul, if you remove the chastity belt, you might actually be able to bust. And to quote Ray Parker Jr., busting makes me feel good, right? Yeah. Yeah, let's go with that one. All right, let's jump over here to talking about a very significant, very big development that happened in Hollywood today. That's not like completely relegated to the idea of movie news, but this is big for streaming and big for what Netflix wants to do. They have officially now joined the MPAA, and this is a significant move. This is a significant move for business, and I'm hoping for fans, because the MPAA, which is the lobbying arm of the film industry, that holds all the cards in regards to rating, has never really been an issue for Netflix. Netflix doesn't deal with the MPAA. They don't submit their films to the MPAA. They don't care. Why would they? They're streaming. They're not going to theaters. But Netflix wants that Oscar gold. Netflix wants to find themselves in a position where they can seek out fame and fortune through film festivals the world over. Remember what happened in Cannes, right? They go to Cannes, and Cannes says, oh yeah, no, you want your movie to be playing here. That is okay, but you got to premiere it first 2 weeks in French cinemas, and then you can put it here in Cannes. That's a weird accent. It's a mixture of many different things, but that's a lot of what it is. That's what they wanted. And Netflix was like, we're kind of a streaming service, so that's kind of a weird thing. But look at Bird Box. Bird Box dropped a couple weeks ago. 80 million people watched it, according to Netflix. They watched it streaming, but it was also in theaters. Roma, which I think is up for Best Picture. I don't even care. No one I know who has seen it has liked it or said anything good about it, but is one that's also up for many, many, many awards. And it's also premiered in theaters in order to get around the pesky restrictions put on it by the Academy. And a big part of that is also the MPAA with the rating of these films to get them into these theaters. It's one of those things. It's one of those things where joining the MPAA is a good idea. Now, it says here that Netflix, it's official. is now a member of the MPAA. The Washington, D.C.-based organization just dropped this following release. The Motion Picture Association of America has added Netflix as a new member of the Global Trade Association that advocates on behalf of the film and television industry. Yeah, advocates my ass. They're just a restrictive company that takes a lot of money from these studios and restricts the smaller independent filmmaker and wants to homogenize everything. And I hate the MPAA. I really do. I'm not mad at Netflix for joining, but I'm hoping they're kind of like a virus, like herpes, the gift that keeps on giving. And they sneak in there in the middle of the night and they just shake every single, they take it over is what I want. And then they destroy it because it needs to happen. But at the same time, we're going to talk about why that's not going to happen and why they ultimately joined. Now, it says on behalf of the MPAA and its member companies, I'm delighted to welcome Netflix as a partner, says MPAA Chairman and CEO Charles Rivkin. All of our members are committed to pushing the film and television industry forward in both how we tell stories and how we reach audiences. Adding Netflix will allow us to look even more, or to more effectively advocate for the global community of creative storytellers, and I look forward to seeing what we can all achieve together. Here's the thing. When is the MPAA? I mean, this is an honest question, legitimate. For those of you guys who are watching this right now, when has the MPAA ever done anything good? I mean, legitimately. When's the last time you looked at the MPAA and went, good job, Motion Picture Association of America? You're doing grand work. You should pat yourself on the back and pay for that high-priced hooker at the Roosevelt Hotel. You never say that. You never have to say that because there's never a reason to. The MPAA is never held in high regard. Ever. Ever. So they're a lobbying arm. There's a lot of money involved. They can kind of control things, but they're also co-owned by all the studios. So the studios keep themselves in control. It's a weird arbitrary rate. It's so stupid. We are beyond the age now of needing the MPAA in terms of ratings. We are. You know it. I know it. They know it. But it's the power and the money that they want. Now, it says here that Netflix joins the leading producers of film and television content that make up the MPAA, including Disney, Paramount, Sony, Fox, Universal, and Warner Brothers. The MPAA advances the business and art of storytelling and protects our members' content across all screens, defends the creative and artistic freedoms of storytellers, and supports innovative distribution models that bring an ever-expanding array of viewing choices to audiences worldwide. Joining the Motion Picture Association further exemplifies our commitment to ensuring the vibrancy of these creative industries and the many talented people who work with them all over the world, says Ted Sarandos, Netflix Chief Content Officer. We look forward to supporting the association team and their important efforts. Again, this is all a business reason for Netflix. And the main reason here, and the article goes on to talk about this, it says here, another key area is to where the MPAA could help Netflix is China. And we know that Netflix very much wants to get itself into the eastern side of the world, and they're going to need all the help they can get to get past those pesky censors and get into those marketplaces because there's a lot of money to be made there. The MPAA has long lobbied for expanding the quota of Hollywood films in the Middle Kingdom, now numbered at 34 films a year. Okay, I was wrong. I keep saying 16 films a year. It's 34 a year now. See, Hollywood is slowly but surely creeping itself into the Middle Kingdom. Breaking into China's streaming landscape has been an impossible task for Netflix, as the country has a rigid set of restrictions that place a 30% quota on streaming platforms for imported content. Getting TV series or streaming movies kicked out of China is another headache for Netflix given the restrictions. Netflix had a licensing agreement with iQIYI, a video streaming subsidiary of the Chinese internet giant Baidu, saying here that China is tough for a Western media company to operate in, and we've not been very active in that market at all, with the exception of licensing some of our shows to the market. And that's going to be our strategy for a little while. Netflix Chief Content Honors, as Ted Sarandos said. Now think about that for a second, right? Their job is to get into China. They want to get into China. They want to be sure to really kind of market to that particular world. And I get it. I mean, on Friday, they're releasing a movie called Kingdom, and it's all about ancient China and zombies. And it looks awesome. It looks cool as hell, and I can't wait to see it. But that is something that they're going to be working on. That's something that they want to do. They very much want to sit there and take over China and India, and they want to expand into those marketplaces. That's the reason. So joining up with the MPAA, effectively, in my opinion, kind of selling your soul to the devil a little bit, because it really does feel like it. It really does feel like it. They want to be respected as one of the big boys, one of the big players. This is one of the last hurdles. When they come out and they win Best Picture for a movie, that's going to elevate them to the table. They're going to get a seat at the table. And that's going to be where Hollywood's going to look to Netflix like, ooh, well, we kind of need you. So let's get you in on let's help you out. So then you help us out. It's all money. Netflix has access to the money, $15 billion in content this year, 2019, $15 billion. That's up from $8 billion last year. So yeah, it's all about money. And it sucks because as much as Netflix allows for the most creative stuff to happen, as much as it does allow for those type of experimental projects and those type of films to find an audience, it does kind of feel like some of that innocence is now gone away. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of that. But here's an interesting one. Here's a really interesting one. So Ryan Reynolds says that Deadpool 3 will go in a completely different direction. I briefly touched upon this yesterday, but I want to take a look at the full context of what he said and really kind of break it down. What exactly could it mean that Deadpool 3 is going to be going in a completely different direction? It could mean a multitude of different things, which we will definitely discuss. Now it says here, Ryan Reynolds says Deadpool 3 will go in a completely different direction. Speaking at a Chinese premiere of Deadpool 2, star Ryan Reynolds confirmed that despite the impending Disney acquisition of Fox, development of Deadpool 3 is still moving forward. Reynolds said that with the third film, they plan to go in a completely different direction, citing that long-running film characters reboot or change a character may be like 4 movies too late. Okay, or saying here that long-running film characters reboot or change like 4 movies too late. So basically trying to say, like, he's making fun of X-Men a little bit. That held on to a lot of the same characters from 2000 all the way through 2014 with Days of Future Past, and I get that. Or other franchises as well that have held on for so long. But that, again, doesn't always mean anything, right? Look at the Fast and Furious franchise. It's had a very similar, very, very core cast of characters since 2001. And it's now a multi-billion-dollar franchise. So I don't really think that's going to be much of a situation to kind of, really worry about here. But what I think it means, completely different direction. Okay, well, I have some thoughts. I have some theories about this Deadpool 3 boot. And that's what I'm calling it, the Deadpool 3 boot. I think it works. It's punny, and I own that shit. I coined that shit. That is my shit. Hashtag 3 boot. But anyway, a completely different direction. Saying this while he's in China at the premiere of Once Upon a Deadpool, the PG-13 version of Deadpool 2. We know for a fact that that Deadpool 1 was banned in China because of the content. We know that they toned it down for Deadpool 2, and we know that Once Upon a Deadpool was ultimately a test to see whether or not the franchise could sustain itself in a PG-13 marketplace. Now, there are those that argue that the added content in Once Upon a Deadpool with Fred Savage and making fun of the Princess Bride ultimately worked. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, although it just came out on home video this last week, so I do need to go and check it out. And others have argued in some of the reviews I saw, at least, that no, it didn't work. It was stupid. They don't need to go that route. People are holding strong to Deadpool as an R-rated franchise. But now we're going to the House of Mouse, and this might move away from 20th Century Fox, that particular business, and move over to Marvel Studios Direct. Now, if it goes Marvel Studios Direct, it's PG-13 across the board. It's going to be made with China in mind, which basically means that, a lot of stuff's going to be cut out. Like Negasonic Teenage Warhead, gone. Yukio, gone. TJ Miller, we already know TJ Miller's out. That's already been known. But, it's going to focus more on probably X-Force characters. And even then, I would argue that maybe Cable. Maybe Cable's going to be gone. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to play into it. But it does feel like what they are doing right now is they are crafting Deadpool 3 to work within the Marvel Cinematic Universe sphere, to homogenize it underneath that particular banner, instead of being allowed to roam free over on the Fox side of things. Now, we know Bob Iger had said that he's going to hold on to, the integrity of Deadpool. He's going to protect it and keep it R-rated, because that was a big concern when the whole thing, when it was brought up a couple years ago, or no, a year ago now, about this merger. Everyone was looking at Bob Iger like, Bobby boy, Bobby boo, Bobby baby. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? How are you going to save Deadpool? And he's like, no, it was fine. But eventually, inevitably, Deadpool is going to go PG-13. That's what the whole Once Upon a Deadpool thing was, in my opinion. Now, it does say here, when you're talking about finances, and this is where it gets interesting, Deadpool 2 premiered in May 2018, became the second highest grossing R-rated film with $743 million worldwide, sitting just behind the first Deadpool movie. Directed by David Leitch, Deadpool 2 finds Ryan Reynolds reprising the role, and then it goes on to talk about that stuff right there. So basically what it's saying there is that the movie made a lot of money. It was a financial success. I argue that Deadpool 2 released at a bad time and left some money on the table, and that the movie should have been $1 billion film. Now, I say that if Tim Miller would have directed it, that's my point. If Tim Miller would have directed it, I think it would have been a lot better. I like David Leitch. He did a great job. It was really good for what he wanted to do, but it was missing the magic that Tim Miller brought to the table. And Ryan Reynolds got a little bit too big for his britches in regards to his ego. But then again, he'd been fighting for this character for so long, that's entirely understandable and warranted. However, where it goes now for this reboot, 3-boot, different direction film is something that, I don't know. Because here's the deal, when you look at the concept of what Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2 are, Deadpool 1 is a romantic comedy, right? It is, if you think about it. Boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy becomes a superhero, supervillain kidnaps girl, boy kills supervillain, rescues girl. You know what? And they fade out to wham. Number 2 is a family film, right? So what exactly would they make number 3 here? But this basically means, and we already know this, that X-Force is dead. So now they're trying to find a way to make it more about a character film rather than an ensemble film, which I don't know how that's going to play out. I don't know how that's going to work. But ultimately, I'm curious to find out more, and I want to see what they're going to be doing about that. So this one is interesting because this story, I think if it blows up pretty big, is gonna knock the socks off of Netflix's stock, because this could take a huge dive. So Netflix has a couple of years ago toyed with the concept of putting advertisements in their content. Right? What more or less treating it like how HBO does it, right? Advertising Netflix original content in front of or at the end of movies or television shows, right? A little 30-second advert going like, hey, did you know that we also have this movie starring this person that was released today? You should watch it. Now, I'm actually relatively okay with that, provided it's at the beginning or the end and it doesn't impede the immediate viewing experience. But a lot of people don't want that. They pay for Netflix to get away from commercials. And it says here that there's a new report that says Netflix would lose 57% of their subscribers if they added commercials. 57% of subscribers if they added commercials. That's a lot. That's not everywhere. It's predominantly in the UK, but still, that should be enough to kind of scare them, don't you think? Now it says here, Netflix has several major advantages over traditional cable channels, including a buttload of capital to spend on endless spray of original programming and the ability to watch all of its programming at any time from a number of devices, phone, laptop, television, watch. It's possible that its single biggest advantage is one that often gets overlooked. Netflix has no commercials. No. That doesn't get overlooked. Trust me. That does not get overlooked. Not one damn bit. What's really funny about that, though, is when you look at a show like, let's say, The Punisher or Daredevil or whatnot, they still create those shows in the format of a 44-minute episode. Weird, right? That those hour-long shows oftentimes play into the same stereotype in regards to length as their network television or cable television counterparts. Now, it goes on to say here that a new study by the marketing firm Audience Project says that if Netflix ever added commercials, they should expect to see a massive drop in subscribers, at least in the United Kingdom, where the survey was based, saying the majority of UK customers would stop watching Netflix if the commercials were introduced, and even lowering subscriptions would cause a significant drop of 42%, according to new research. So what does that really mean? Well, basically they're saying like, hey, listen, if you introduce commercials in the UK, you're going to drop 57% of your customer base here in the UK. And it would happen in the United States too. They raised their prices last week, and their lower tier prices got raised up, and they've already seen a lot of cancellations based upon that $1 a month. Now, Netflix ultimately, I don't want to say doesn't care, because it feels like they're just not whatever with it, but at the same time, it kind of feels like they're like, whatever with it. That's, a significant thing. If more and more people drop off because they just don't feel that the value of content is there, then it's just not going to be worth their while. And as we get closer to Disney Plus coming out with a more competitive price rate, Hulu's got a more competitive price rate, but that's for television. I mean, Amazon Instant, there's a lot of competition in the marketplace. So raising your prices, yes, to facilitate a $15 billion payout in regards to financing content, it can have some issues. Now, the 42% though, that's interesting, where you would still lose over 1/3, almost 1/2 of your audience, if you were to enter commercials and then lower the subscription cost. Now, that's a bit more of a pain threshold, I think, here in the United States, we would be willing to deal with. I think more people would be willing to be okay with that if they lowered the rate. We kind of, we're gluttons for punishment here in regards to advertising. Wink, wink. So, you may want to do that. Anyway, so what you've got is you got that. Now, the guy says here that, and this is a personal thing, but I like what he says. He says that I've noticed the impact of no commercials on Netflix, Hulu, Prime Video, and other streaming services on my young children who have no concept of television outside these apps and therefore have basically never seen ads in their entire lives. On the rare occasion when they have to watch commercials, if we're visiting family and they put their cable television to Nickelodeon or something, they're totally baffled. Why did PJ Masks stop? It's pretty wild. As a result of this sort of study, I would certainly be surprised if Netflix suddenly decided to add commercials. Nobody wants to lose 57% of their customers, plus his kids would be outraged. And not just his kids. Not just his kids. A lot of people would be outraged. And it makes absolute sense that a lot of people would be outraged. Because when you look at this particular situation, you don't want commercials on there. I guarantee you, those watching right now, you don't want commercials. You're like, whoa. No. You've shown me Valhalla, man. You've shown me Mecca. You've shown me paradise with no commercials. All right? Like, don't turn into YouTube and put ads on everything that I have to sit there and watch to support my favorite creator. Wink, wink. It's very much like you get used to it. Same with Hulu. I pay the extra for Hulu for no commercials. I pay for YouTube Premium. So then, for no commercials. People will pay for no commercials. Talking about adding in commercials. No, Netflix. That's a bad move, and one that would cost you dearly. So I have a feeling that's never actually going to happen, but at the same time, it'd be very interesting to see what the response would be if they came out and they actually even remotely suggested it. All right, so one thing I forgot to mention, I was going to do this in the beginning of it. I told the Space to talk about the whole Black Panther Best Picture nod. Let's talk about that. Because I think it's bullshit, to be honest with you. I think nominating Black Panther for Best Picture is bullshit. Because it was nominated for Best Picture and no other Best of Awards in a non-technical sense. No Best Actor, no Best Actress, no Best Supporting, no Best Adapted Screenplay, no Best Director. No, but it did get nominated for sound editing and sound design and costume, but not Best Visual Effects. That, of course, went to Avengers Infinity War. And I think also Solo. Right? They only got one nod. Now, here's the deal. When it comes to the concept, to the technical awards, I would argue that costume design, yeah, sure, definitely in the running for that. I would not be upset if it won. I'd be supportive if it won. The costumes on the movie were great. I think it was also for best production design too, which I would argue is a good call. I think a good call for best production design. It had really detailed sets, and I like the design of Wakanda and everything else. So those are the ones I'd give it. Sound editing, sound design. I don't know how many times do you hear Wakanda forever in the movie? A lot. I'm good. I'm good. I'm fine. It was a bit crazy for a while. Everyone like, Wakanda! Like, no, stop it. But I think when you talk about the concept of why it was nominated for Best Picture, and I've talked about this before, but I just want to, now that it's been confirmed as being nominated, why was it nominated? Well, it's nominated because it's ultimately talking about not the success of the movie itself, the film on the merit of being a film, but it's being given the illustrious honor of being nominated because, well, representation. Now, I heard people talking about this today, other streams talking about this today that didn't quite understand, I think, how this came to be. Now, for one, Disney submitted this movie to the Academy for 16 different awards, meaning that they put out a lot of money for this particular project to make its way into the Academy Award in every possible category. I mean, hell, Disney only submitted Avengers Infinity War for 11 Oscars. Yeah. And none of them were Best Picture, by the way. They didn't want that. They went for technical side of Avengers and only got nominated for one. Again, when you look at Avengers Infinity War and you want to talk about sound design and sound editing, but they give it to Black Panther, yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. I just fine. Whatever, man. Cool beans. However you want to play it, that's fine with me. But on a best picture level, people are arguing that it doesn't have a shot at winning. I disagree. I think that, yes, it does have an absolute shot at winning. Keep in mind that earlier last year, the Academy Award came out and said, hey guys, we're thinking about doing this cool new groovy thing. We're talking about making a new feature, making a new category. We're going to do most popular movie, best most popular movie. Everyone laughed at that. Everyone talked crap about that. You know why? Because it was stupid. It was stupid to do. It's a dumb thing to do. They pulled it because everyone knew what they wanted. They wanted to give it to Black Panther. They did. They wanted to give it to Black Panther. It went to the Golden Globes. It didn't win anything, but it was nominated. The Oscars, though, are a different story, and we have to go back even a couple years to kind of discuss that from where it's at. No one I've seen talking about this have brought up the Oscars So White campaign. 2 years in a row, Jada Pinkett Smith and other African-American actors in Hollywood started the Oscars So White campaign, essentially criticizing the Oscars for not nominating Black directed or Black produced or Black led films. And I understand it. I get it, because they felt that the Academy members themselves were too old, too decrepit, and not, don't have their fingers on the pulse of society, which again, I would probably argue is relatively true. So the Academy, feeling the heat the second year after all this stuff went down, decided to recalibrate everything. So they opened up the floodgates in regards to bringing on new members. They wanted a more younger, more diverse, robust Academy. And what they did is, if you were a long-standing member without having actually been working in the industry or won an award yourself, you were outed. So they basically went up to the baby boomers and took them out back and took them out and brought in this new, younger, more diverse set of Academy members. And they all wanted Black Panther to win. Now, keep in mind that Hollywood is very much homogenous and very much all about patting themselves on the back. And that's exactly what's going to happen when the Academy Awards happen next month with no official host, except for maybe the Avengers. And like I said before, in that topic too, I figured that they were going to probably bring in the Avengers because Black Panther was going to be up. And of course, you've got Captain Marvel coming out in a couple weeks. So you've got that whole situation going on as well. But the way I view it essentially is that, it has a shot. Not based on the merits of the movie, because the movie is like The Lion King kind of remade. It's a fun movie, but there are a lot of problems with it. Is it Best Picture material? No. If you want to talk about comic book movies and Best Picture material, obviously Avengers Infinity War is a much better made movie. It is a much better produced movie. The script is better. The acting was better. The sound design and the visual effects are insanely better. Come on. Thor reignites a dead star. Wakanda, really shitty looking battle rhinos. Don't get me wrong, they were cool in theory, but it's like they looked really crappy on screen, And our cloaks, they disappear like Harry Potter. But anyway, all I'm saying here is that Black Panther ultimately is a movie that shouldn't win, that might actually win. Now, I don't know. I'm just a doctor. I mean, I play one on TV. I'm not a doctor. We'll see what happens with it. But I think in the meantime, the conversation surrounding the movie and the historical implication of nominating it is pretty high. But then again, I leave it to you. You guys could think something entirely different than me and think that Spike Lee's got a shot with Black Klansman, or The Favorite's going to win. I think, is that nominated? I don't even really know, because honestly, God, none of it really matters. The only thing anyone's going to be talking about is Black Panther and the nomination. You know it, and I know it. All right. Those are my 5 news stories, by the way. 5. Did a lot. Let me just bring that up here. I forgot to mention that earlier. If you guys want to, I got a couple voicemails to get to. If you guys want to shoot an email or call in and leave a voicemail, we can do that real quick, or we can just talk for the next 20 minutes. So, let's see here. All right, let me go and do the voicemail. While you guys get questions ready, tag me in the chat so I can see it, or send an email in. We'll get to one, but first we'll just do the voicemails here. These are going to be a lot of fun. All right, so let me bring that up. I got a weird one here about like who would you rather have sex with sort of thing. I mean, I appreciate the question, but I'm just not gonna play it. Sorry, man. This is not the case.
Hey, man. I was wondering, what's your opinion of the John Wick 3 trailer? How do you think John Wick 2 held up against 1? I personally thought it was great. Do you think the third film's going to be good? Do you think it's going to be worse? I don't know. I saw the trailer, and frankly, I was bowled over by it. Let me know.
All right, John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum trailer dropped last week, and not only did that trailer drop, so did my panties. My God, that trailer looked amazing. I cannot wait to see this movie. I loved it. I want to know more. I want to know what happens. I want to see John Wick take out everybody once again. There's $14 million. Is it a $14 million bounty that's on his head right now? So there's a huge, massive, multi-million-dollar bounty on his head, and everyone in New York is after him because he's now excommunicado. And I personally am I love the trailer. I watched it like so many times, and I can't wait to see what they're gonna do with it. I can't wait to see what's gonna happen with it. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, we're in for a hell of a time with John Wick Chapter 3. That unfortunately is probably going to be the last movie. But there is the TV show, The Continental, that's currently going to Starz or being worked on over at Starz, which is actually one of the reasons why I think they canceled Ash vs. Evil Dead, if I'm being honest with you. But like, whatever, man. Yeah, anyway, we got another one here from okay, yeah, here we go. This is the one that just came in this morning, actually. So let's take a listen.
Hey, Matt, this is Kazra, the guy you keep on calling you and never respond. Made my question all that great. I just want to know, now that Black Panther has got nominated for Best Picture, do you think there's going to be more backlash against it from mostly comic book fans? Because comic book fans, they don't enjoy everything being mainstream. I'm excited for it for some other reason because my inner 12-year-old loves seeing comic book movies getting nominated for an Oscar. So, what do you think? Will there be a backlash against Black Panther, or will there be praise for it? And what will happen to the sales of the comic books? Will it go up, or just stay the same? All right, bye.
Nope. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Thank you. I didn't realize that the mic was off. Button. Anyway, live technical problems. Thanks a lot, Kaza. I do appreciate the email. Will there be a backlash against Black Panther? Not from the industry. The industry is going to be very supportive of it. The industry is going to be very much on board with it. The industry is going to fawn all over the concept of it, right? A superhero movie was nominated for Best Picture. Not only that, but it was a black superhero movie. Cool. Like, I don't have an issue with the movie itself being nominated. My concern is more about the why it was nominated. I mean, I think that's more of checking a box than anything else, and that's taking away from the merit of the people who worked on it. When you're elevated simply because of one aspect of who you are versus the total sum of your parts, I think it's a disrespect, to be honest with you, but that's just me. But no, the backlash might come from people that don't think it's worthy to be Best Picture. The backlash might come from, let's say, people like me who criticize it being selected. Not criticizing the film, but just criticizing where it stands in this particular list and what got it there. And then you might have certain articles coming out that sit there and say, "Oh, well, you've got Black Panther haters are just upset that this movie made it to the top, the top films for the Best Picture nominations." And it's like, yeah, but you're overlooking the core argument as to why people are saying this, as to why people feel the way that they do. And the whole point is that, quite frankly, like, fuck you. I can think how I want to think on this one, and I think that ultimately it's just it's not the best film to do it. South Park made fun of it. They did. They called it like just Lion King Part 2 essentially, and they're not really wrong. It pulls a lot of beats from Lion King, which in and of itself is a derivative ripoff from Kimba. So, it's not an original story. It's just they want it up there for representation's sake. And like I said in the segment before, it could actually win as a result of that. Of course, no one would have the balls to actually come out and say that's what it is. And if that's how they want to play it, that's entirely fine. I'm not against that, but just be honest about it. That's all I'm saying. So we did get an email here from Rachel, who emailed in yesterday. Yeah, again, you guys can email. If you guys want to email right now, we're live. I'm not too sure how many people are watching right now. We got 37 people in here right now from what I can see, unless I don't refresh my browser. If you guys want, 36 people. Yeah, there we go. It's fine. If you guys want to, come on in, you can do that and email, and I'll answer them. But it says here from Rachel, she's like, are the Oscars worth watching anymore? And should people still watch them? Well, the Oscars ultimately, I don't think they're not for anyone else other than the Academy, right? When I used to live in LA, I worked for a flower shop called Mark's Garden. And I was a temporary employee there. And this is the place that basically gave all the flowers, did all the flower arrangements for the Oscars. And because of that, they had a lot of high profile celebrity clients. I mean, was it Kris Jenner would call in daily to order flowers for whatever, to her house. I mean, like, this small little boutique would be sending, I had a 45-minute conversation with Leanne Rhymes' mom about trying to send a Mother's Day boutique, to her daughter. Right. So, I mean, like, no, it's one of those things, but we talk about the Oscars and it's just, it's glitz and glamour. Show up on one night and go, hey, everyone, we did a good job this year. We all made a lot of money. We all got up there on our political pulpit and pulled out the bullhorn and went to town and talked to everyone. And we made our opinions known while still ignoring the opinions and feelings of middle America. Therefore, furthering the divide of cultures and causing more division in here, these United States, which is unfortunate. I don't think they're worth watching anymore. I don't think any award show is really worth watching anymore because they're out of they're out of contact with the way that the world operates. They don't represent that. Look, I'll put it like this: I think it was like 21 or 22 million people watched the Oscars during the broadcast this last year. When the Connors came back in the middle, and I think it was like in the middle part of the year, roughly, when the Connors came back, the first episode had like 21 million people watching it. And it wasn't from the elites and whatever. This is from middle America, the salt of the earth kind of people sort of thing. And they're the ones who watch this kind of stuff. And they're the ones who watch these movies. And they're the ones that are feeling like they're not being listened to or they're being portrayed in a negative light because of the way actors are acting and because they want a virtue signal on social media. So no, I don't think people should watch the Oscars because all you're really doing is playing into their particular ego. That's the way that I see that. So all right, those are the questions and the voicemails I got. So thank you guys very much for that. We'll turn it over now to the Q&A section. If you guys want to ask your questions in there, I will look through the chat. We'll talk for another 12 minutes or so. Be a lot of fun. Okay, where's that? I'm trying to find my thumbnail. There we go. There we go. All right, so Black Panther is just a hero movie, yet everyone said it's a black movie. You don't care about the movie. Yeah, South Park did make fun of it. Let's see here. I think I liked it better when African Americans didn't get Oscar nominated. They'd keep the entire show for what? Oh, come on. No, pensive. What is that? That's so stupid. That's so stupid. No, come on, man. Look, it should be a meritocracy, not based upon a person's ethnicity. That's ridiculous. I don't think Black Panther, as far as films go, is the best thing ever made. It was good. It was a fun movie. But I sat down and watched it with my girlfriend, and we got like halfway through, and she was like, I'm bored. But yet we watched Avengers Infinity War again the other night, and she was loving the hell out of that. So it's the movie. Let's see here. Crazy Rich Asians got nominated. What did it get nominated for? Because what I was reading was that like they got completely ignored. Bohemian Rhapsody was a great movie. You were in it, Anthony. Awesome. I haven't seen Bohemian Rhapsody, but I did see someone mention it in the comments earlier about the whole thing. I saw someone mention it in the comments. And so, yeah, I need to see Crazy Rich Asians, and I need to see Bohemian Rhapsody, but I've heard a lot of good things about Bohemian Rhapsody. Everyone who's seen it, like my dad and my stepmom, who never go see movies, went and saw Bohemian Rhapsody, and they really, really, really liked it. Let's see here. Is Black Panther overrated? Yeah, in some respects, yeah. I mean, if you really think about it, Black Panther is just a filler movie for Infinity War. It is. It really, really, really is. Kind of like Captain Marvel's a filler movie for Avengers Endgame to set up her coming in to save the day. And there was an article I saw yesterday. I think it was like Screen Rant or something was complaining, saying like Captain Marvel's releasing too close to Endgame, which is true. It's like 6 weeks. It's like 6 weeks away. Once Captain Marvel comes out, it's like 6 weeks to the next Marvel movie. Could you imagine if we lived in a world where every 6 to 12 weeks there was another Marvel movie? That'd be crazy, man. It's crazy. Let's see here. Saw Aquaman. It was awesome. Aquaman made you cry. Aquaman was awesome. I've watched it a couple times now. I really, really like it. I am pissed off that it got snubbed for best visual effects, because I would argue that it's got better visual effects than Avengers Infinity War. And I think it was a much better movie than a lot of people let it on to be. And I had so much fun with it that I'm looking forward to getting it on 4K when it comes out. Let's see here. It should have been after Civil War. What do you mean? Oh, okay. Do I think more superhero movies will get nominated, or is this just for Black Panther? I mean, 10 years ago, The Dark Knight I know Heath Ledger won posthumously for the Joker. I think it was a worthy win. There's only one other actor that year whose performance I felt would have bested him, and that was Robert Downey Jr. For Tropic Thunder. Weird to think that movie is over 10 years old, but it is. And The Dark Knight should have been up for Best Picture. But the following year, you had District 9, Neil Blomkamp's first film, was up for Best Picture. And that was, sci-fi kind of, I don't want to say comic book-y, but it kind of felt in the same realm as what could be like The Dark Knight, those kind of movies. So seeing genre films get recognized by the Academy is cool. I do want to point that out. That is cool. But I still feel Logan got robbed last year. Because not only was it a good comic book movie, it was an excellent movie in its own right. One that was infinitely rewatchable and just gut-wrenching every time you do it. So there's that. Let's see here. You finally saw, Jackson Perkins here says, Crazy Rich Asians was okay, but you finally saw Bumblebee and it was amazing. I have yet to see Bumblebee. I've got the Cinemark app. I pay like the $9 a month for that. I got 2 tickets on there. I should go see Bumblebee and Spider-Man. Just make it a night. You know what I mean? Let's see. What movie will give respect to Asians more in movies when it gets nominated? I think an action film, like something like The Raid, because that's something that like would get the respect of a lot of people. Drama is like Crazy Rich Asians. I mean, like it tanked in China. Crazy Rich Asians tanked in China. And it wasn't because of representation. I mean, well, I guess it was the exact opposite if you think about it. It tanked in China because they sat there and like, wait, no, we live here. And they're not rich, so they don't want to see lifestyles of the rich and famous crazy Asians. Or lifestyles of the rich or of the crazy rich Asians. There we go. That didn't resonate with them. Kind of like Black Panther didn't resonate with them. Well, mostly because the movie was too dark, and as a result of it being too dark on a 3D film on a low watt bulb, or a bulb that was going dead, it caused her some negative reviews. So there's that. Let's see. Do I think Aquaman will mark the beginning of DC making better superhero movies? I hope so. But here's the thing: is I like the DC superhero movies. I love, and I mean, like, I love Man of Steel, and I fucking love Batman v Superman, the extended cut, obviously. So I am all about that, right? I am definitely all about that. But I think ultimately, yeah, I like to see them make more movies like Aquaman, where it's just kind of fun. And I think that's going to be a great deal of stuff right there. So let's see here. If The Dark Knight, Logan, or Spider-Man 2 didn't get nominated, then so should Black Panther. You're not wrong, Peter Parker. Let's see. You heard that a new Toy Story 4 trailer is coming within this week. A 3-minute one. Oh, Brandon, I'll definitely check that one out. I talked about the story details of that yesterday, of what it could possibly be. And if you missed that clip, you can go find yesterday's episode or wait till Saturday morning is when that clip goes live. Let's see. But I'm looking forward to it. You're so ready for It Chapter 2. Hell yeah. Let's see here. Spider-Man is amazing that it got nominated, and I'm glad it did because it was amazing. We'll read. I haven't seen Into the Spider-Verse yet. I want to really bad. I think it's going to be a cool film to go check out. The animation style looks interesting. I know that it's not for everybody. I get that, but I like the fact that they've tried they very much tried to make it more of what's the word I want to use here? To make it more of a comic book feel, to make an actual comic book is what it felt like. And the experimentation of that paid off. A Golden Globe win for Best Animated Movie, as well as a nomination at the Oscars. And I think it's going to beat out Incredibles 2. I do. I think it might beat out Incredibles 2. Let's see. And China said there was too many black people. No, J Bells. No. You're misinterpreting that. This is true. They said it was too black. What they said was it was too black. And what that means, because I actually went and read the reviews. I read what they were saying. And I used to be a projectionist. And I'm all like, that seems kind of weird. Like, why would they say it's too black? Like, it's not, it's a bright movie except for the ending. But then I started reading what they were saying, and it was they were seeing it in 3D, right? So when you go see a 3D movie, it requires a lot of light to make 3D work. I mean, like what you see when you see a 2D movie, you need like almost double the light from a bulb in order to get the 3D to work. And so if a bulb starts going dead because they go dead faster as a result of doing 3D, and those bulbs are expensive, like we're talking like $1,500 to $2,000 per bulb, and they last only a few months. So what happens with that is they end up, like it was too dark for them to see because of how much light is needed to make 3D work properly. That's what it was. It wasn't that there were too many black people. It was assumed that's what they were saying because the writer assumed that, and then that became the narrative. But when you go and you read it, and if you have any fundamental knowledge of how movie theaters work, how theater projection works, then it's easy to figure out what the hell they were saying. But of course, no one wanted to talk about the truth on that. I think I was a lone person. Did I see Spider-Man Far From Home? Oh yeah, a couple times. Loved it. About Deadpool, 2 words, Marvel Knights. J-Rock, what is that? I don't know. What are my thoughts on Men in Black International? It's okay. I want to see it. I thought the trailer was pretty funny. Again, Chris Hemsworth in a comedy role, I am down for. Anytime he wants to be funny, I'm down to go see that. I think he did a great job, and I really want to see, where it goes. Additionally, what we're talking about here is F. Gary Gray as a director. And F. Gary Gray, in my opinion, has not made a bad movie. His last movie was Fate of the Furious, over $1 billion. He also did Straight Outta Compton, which was an amazing movie. He did The Italian Job in 2003 with Jason Statham and Mark Wahlberg. That was a very fun movie. He can do fun, punchy action films as well as dramas. And I feel like this is going to be something that's going to kind of allow him to play into more of a science fiction world. That's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes. So I definitely want to see what's going to happen with that one. But we got about what is it? Couple minutes. Oh man, I hope I recorded everything. Let's see here. Any films this year I plan on seeing soon? Yeah, I'm gonna go see Captain Marvel, even though I think it looks kind of boring. Because I kind of have to. It's a Marvel movie. They've already got my money. I definitely want to go see Glass. I want to go see Spider-Man, Bumblebee. Mary Poppins, I can wait for home video. I'm fine on that one. Obviously John Wick. Detective Pikachu is high up on my list of things to see. What else is coming out this year? I have to go look to see what else is coming out. There's a lot, but in the first few months, those are the ones I'm looking forward to. Let's see here. If you're looking forward, yeah, no, it's I'm looking forward to it, man. Well, don't take my word for it specifically, Leo. I mean, I want you to see the more trailers and make a determination yourself. I am a person who goes into pretty much every movie wanting to like it. You have to understand that about me. I go into every movie wanting to enjoy it. Like, I talked all that shit about Ghostbusters for a long time, still went, because here's the thing. If I'm going to criticize a movie as much as I did Ghostbusters or anything else, really, like Captain Marvel, I've criticized it. I'm going to go fucking see the movie. What I can't stand are people that are just watching someone else talk about it and then get their entire opinion based upon that. That's not how this should work, right? You cannot be a commentator and not actually watch the content. You can't just sit there and comment on what somebody else has said and treat it as truth. It becomes a game of telephone. And we all know the game of telephone is completely subjective, completely full of crap, and it just never works. So go see the fucking movie. So when Ghostbusters happened, I could have avoided it. Could have been like, I'm not going to go give that movie my goddamn money. I'm not going to go do this. No, I went, took my girlfriend to go see it. First available showing we could go see, which was the Thursday night 7 p.m. show. Because I figured, I sat there and went like, if I'm going to talk enough crap about this movie, I am going to go see it. Because that is the responsible thing to do in order to either validate my opinion on it or to eat fucking crow. And the movie started off, and I liked the first 5 minutes of Ghostbusters 2016. As soon as the credits rolled, we hear the open, the theme song and everything else. And I thought to myself, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this movie's going to be good. Maybe it's going to be a fun time. And then there was a queef joke like 2 minutes later, and I immediately lost all interest in the film. But that's where we are. I still took the time to go and see it, to do my fucking job. And that's why you should, if you want to, put the work in. Don't just sit on the sidelines and fucking whine about it. I have beef with other shit. Let's see here. Yeah, Peek-a-Pool weirds you out. Yeah. Missing Link. Oh, yeah, Missing Link looks pretty good. I want to see that. Shazam. Thank you. Shazam is high on my list. That's a definite go and see. The Kid Who Would Be King. I've heard nothing but good things. I'm hearing about Kid Who Would Be King, and the way that is like 1980s goodness, and that works for me. But anyway, guys, it's currently 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I need to go get myself some dinner and check in on my family. I will be back tomorrow night. I don't know if I will be live tomorrow night. I might have to go on a little early at 4, from 4 to 5. I have an appointment I have to get to at 5:30. If not, if I can't make that, I will pre-record an episode, and it will be a live premiere. I know it's not as much fun. I apologize for that, but that's going to be where it's at. And then, of course, I think Thursday I might also have to miss. I don't know what's going on with that yet. Something else has come up. And if I have to miss that, I will do something for a premiere. And then I'll be back on Friday for definitely a live 5 p.m. Pacific. I know first week I go do this and shit comes up right away. It's the life of a parent, right? The life of a parent. But anyway, guys, thank you again so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you haven't already, while you guys are here, remember, you can always call in any time of day, always send an email any time of day, and you can definitely enjoy it. And I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great one, and peace out.